It's the last day of the trading week. Let's get some business news now, starting with the massive new tariffs from the U.S. against the European Union that are taking effect this morning. France 24's Cole Stengler is here to tell us more.
That's right. Well, it's been weeks in the making. Now the day has finally arrived. Now those tariff hikes targeting some $7.5 billion in European goods, hitting everything from French wine and Scottish whiskey to Spanish olives. Tariffs of 25% will apply to a list of agricultural goods and industrial products, while tariffs of 10% will apply to aircraft from the EU. It's all despite calls from European governments for Washington to back off from the new taxes. Our correspondent in Italy, Natalia Mendoza, has more on the potential effects.
Paolo Gennari's family have been making authentic Italian Parmesan cheese for 3 generations, a traditional product that they export above all to the United States.
It's a product that is handmade. Look, there are no machines. It's the human hand that gives the shape to the Parmesan. It's the skilled labor that explains the cost of the Parmesan.
A few days ago, Paolo began to worry. Italian Parmesan is on the list of products targeted by the increase in customs duties imposed by the United States.
This wheel costs us more than 500 euros to make. And if we have to add extra taxes, that could affect sales. The new customs duties are going to hit the whole of our sector.
Today, Paolo is hoping that the European Union will intervene to limit the damage caused by these new measures.
We're asking our government and Europe to work together to negotiate with the United States to make sure that our sector is not affected.
In the area around the town of Parma, in the north of Italy, over 3,500 businesses are involved in the production of Parmesan. According to early estimations, these new sanctions could cost Italy more than 500 million euros.
The United States is the second biggest importer after France. The import tax has gone up from 2 to 6 euros per kilo, which means the American consumer will pay 45 euros per kilo instead of 40 euros. For us, this is a tragedy.
A tragedy, as this risks compromising sales on the other side of the Atlantic. In 2018, Italy exported 31 million kilos of cheese to the United States for a total value of 272 million euros.
Let's take a look now at the day's trading action. European markets are off to a mixed start as uncertainty mounts over Brexit, and it's still unclear if Parliament's going to approve that last-minute deal. You actually see some losses here on the FTSE, down 0.3%. CAC 40 just under the flat line. Frankfurt DAX also seeing some losses, again, as that uncertainty mounts over the UK, whether they're going to approve that last-minute exit agreement from the EU. Not a great end to the week on the major Asian indices either. The Nikkei showing some slight gains, but the Hang Seng in Hong Kong with some losses. Also, the Shanghai Exchange showing losses of over 1% there. Now, a big reason for those losses in China are the government's third quarter growth figures, which were released on Friday. They found the economy grew at an annual rate of just 6%. Now, that's the lowest figure in almost 30 years. Comes amid the country's high-intensity trade war with the United States. Earlier, France 24 spoke with correspondent Charles Pellegrin in Beijing to get a better sense of what's behind the slowdown.
The reasons are both domestic and external. First off, obviously the trade war, which has really been weighing over the global economy and dampening investor confidence and consumer confidence. It's now less likely for a Chinese consumer, for instance, to want to buy a big ticket item like a car. And this is going to have an impact on growth. And it's not just confidence which is being affected. There's a real effect on the actual economy here, with exports, for example, in September dropping 3.2%. Year on year. Now, there's also domestic reasons, which is just a normal cooling down of the Chinese economy as the economy is changing, moving from a manufacturing-based economy towards something else, where there's a larger part for the services sector, for instance. So it's normal that the growth, the pace of growth is not as fast as it was a few years ago.
And finally, staying in China, where the National Basketball Association is still trying to recover from an international firestorm. Earlier this month, Chinese TV dropped coverage of some NBA games following a since-deleted tweet from the general manager of the league's Houston Rockets, in which he expressed sympathy for the pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong Now, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has given some more details on the controversy. In an interview, he said the, quote, financial fallout for the league has already been substantial. Silver also said that Chinese authorities tried to get the league to fire the Rockets GM, a move the NBA ultimately rejected. Still will. The NBA's handling of the affair clearly upsetting many. China's upset, and also some in the U.S. and elsewhere are saying the league's not sticking up enough for free speech. So everyone's seemingly upset at the NBA.
Especially because the league's been so proactive about movement in the U.S., similar causes. All right. Thank you very much, Cole. Cole Stangler with the Business